If you do videos and photography like I do, it's a pain to set up a tripod. It really is. So I came up with this design pretty much for the cost of this extension boom for a monitor, around $20–30. The rest of it's just junk that I saved from the trash heap. I use it a lot for my shooting down, looking at the table shots. If there's just an infinite number of angles that you can do with this thing. If you're like me and you've made it out of a series of extension poles, the height is limitless. Mine goes up to around 6 feet when it's on the ground. So you can adjust it on the floor. You can actually use it tracking shots, slider shots. Your imagination is the only thing that is limiting this design. I've been thinking about different designs, but it all really started with this broken chair. The back had fallen off. It was time to go to the dump. But I saw potential in this piece right here. I think I can use this for another project. So I'm looking at it. I said, well, I'll cut that into there. And many times it comes out to the easy answer. This comes off. Not sure what I'm going to do with this, if anything. This little piece of the puzzle is what I needed to make the camera stand. Now let's go to a top-down shot and get into the modifications. I'll post all the materials down below that I use. This monitor stand is like the stock market. I've bought at least 5 of these things. The price ranged anywhere from $20 on a super special lightning deal to $27 I think I paid the most for it. If you put it in your wish list and just wait for it to come down in price, that will probably work for you. The actual design of this for the table, and it works great, is this. And it comes in here like this, and it mounts like that, and it has a great extension, and it comes up and down. But for this installation, there's a couple things that I had to figure out. First of all, I got this big hole here. I took a 2-inch hole saw, and this is a 2 1/8 inch hole saw, and made a bunch of holes out of scrap wood. This hole saw kit that I got from Harbor Freight is just well worth the money. I think I paid $15 for it, another super special deal, and I've used it hundreds of times. Pretty much all of the different size holes for one project or another. This top one here is the 2 1/8 inch one. When you're measuring the hole, you got to kind of figure it out. So this is the cap. The hole actually slopes down like this. On the bottom you need the 2-inch holes, and you're just kind of making a structural framework. This is designed to go into a hole in a desk. Put this in the top, pounded it down, put these 2 guys in the bottom, ran this into the top, and pushed it down so that it was nice and flush on top. And this is a little sleeve that goes over the top. So you're going to pound that down a little bit to make sure that these are all right on the surface of the plastic top here. That's pretty important. Those spacers help keep it from wobbling around and make it strong. And then you just put this piece on like this. I'm making this look real easy, and it is once you figure it out. So you get to benefit from all my experiences. Now I want to have that as short as possible and have as much of it in here that I can, so I'm just gonna twist it till I have just enough to put this on here. So I've got the lock washer on there to help cinch this down. Putting on this wing nut, tighten it down as much as I can with my hands. You don't want to break the wing nut until it doesn't want to give anymore. And you want to line this up so that you take advantage of the plastic structure in here, and that's all lying flat on the structure itself. And that's looking pretty good. And the reason why I put this hole here is because my experience, when you extend it out, it's going to have a tendency to tilt the rig if you're not careful in some circumstances. You always want to point this out in the opposite direction of this hole right here. What's the post made out of? It's a 3/4 inch piece of PVC, 1.5 inches long, a 1-inch 1/4 inch washer, 3 1/4 inch bolt, another washer, 1 1/4 inch diameter washer, and then a nylon lock nut. You can see there's all this structure here, so I just drilled straight through. And this is just a synthetic cork that I drilled a hole through to give it some structure. Put a little bit of curve to match the curve of the leg of the chair. And using the structure as a support element, and then just lock that down nice and tight. From the end of the chair, the center line for the hole is 3 1/4 inches, about 9 centimeters. So this is the camera stand. Here's what the monitor stand looks like. Now compared to my camera stand, this was a little different structure. I was able to use a shorter 1/4 inch bolt, same configuration. For the camera rig, I'm using an old steel pole that I had off of a lamp. And it actually twists together, and that's why I like it for the camera rig, because you can break it down. It's in 20-inch sections. That's nice and tight. Because of the connection points, it's maybe not as strong as this, which is a piece of 1-inch electrical conduit. And here I just put some hockey tape around it, and this line represents where it goes into the hole. So it will go in just like this, and I'll show it a little later. For the camera mount, I didn't have to use any kind of tape because, lucky for me, this slides just right into the regular monitor stand and just extends it out to about 6 feet. For the monitor arm, I was able to just use some felt pieces about the length of this here, which is about 2 inches, and I just put those in place. Right now I have 2, a little too loose, so I'm going to actually add another one. These are felt pads. The long ones here is what I'm using for this application. So you peel this off and then just insert it into the hole here. In this case, I'm just going to put it here on the side. And then do a fit check on the pole. And you can loosen and tighten this nut here to help with the initial installation. And then ideally, so move that on there like that. Yeah, okay. So there's the 3. And you got a nice fluid motion there, which is what I wanted for the camera. For the monitor arm, what I did is I took 1-inch Schedule 20 PVC pipe, cut a 3/8 inch gap out, used some gaffer's tape, and then I'm following the seam here and just put that in there to make up the difference. Depending on what pole you use, either a felt slider or this method here. And the hardest part is just getting the initial pole on. You can see that slides around a good bit, but this bolt is all the way out. So once I clamp that down, it's not going to move much at all. That's pretty tight. And for the monitor stand, you may not want to move it too much. You'll probably fix that and it'll be okay. And then you can adjust the height and how far the monitor goes in and out using this for the extension arm. This monitor stand arm with the original piece that I've now mounted on the old bottom part of the chair is designed for 20 pounds and a 32-inch monitor. We're going to test it with some counterweights to verify this design. Here's the camera stand, all assembled and ready to go. But before I put my really expensive camera on it, I want to check it out and see how stable it is. So I've got this 2.5 pound weight. My camera weighs a little under 2 pounds. Can I take this all the way out without it tipping over? And then I'll take and slide it up. See how flexible this is. I'm getting a little bit of tipping here that I'm not real happy with. And there are going to be times when I want to put the camera out that far. I'm going to use the post I mounted in the back to put a counterweight so this doesn't tip over. I've got a 5 pound weight and a 2.5 pound weight. And I'm going to put the 5 pound weight in first. I think that's going to do the job. But just because my camera is $800 and I don't want to lose it, I think it's worth the investment of this 2.5 pound weight, which I already have. This camera stand is now bomber. It's lightweight, portable, comes apart in a whole bunch of different pieces. You can put it in your car easy, assemble it, disassemble it, take it on site, and move it around. This design goes to a whole different level just using the bottom of a chair that I was going to throw away anyway. If you were to buy a system like this, almost $200. Last thing to do is to loosen up these joints. So this one, plus or minus, I loosen it up a good bit. This will loosen up over time, this one here. You can really dial down the tension on this thing down here, and so there's sometimes when you want to really make that fine adjustment. And that will take a little time to figure out. Just take and turn this clockwise. The next question would be, how do you mount a camera or a holder for a phone or whatever it is to this thing here? You need a mounting bracket, a 6-inch long, 1-inch by 1-inch angled aluminum. I'm using 2 1/2-inch number 10 screws with nylon lock nuts. I've drilled 3 holes in the center line, maybe 3/4 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch, and then at the center to run screws through to mount your cameras to. Here I've mounted a phone and my video camera. These are the 2 things I shoot most of my videos with. But that shows you how it sits on the rig with this interface plate. Thumbs up and comments always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in all sorts of designs for camera gear, sports equipment, evaluations of camera gear and sports equipment, making and breaking things, home repairs, I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what design idea you may see.